The Dallas Cowboys are going into the 2025-26 season with some hope for the future. They have a new head coach for 2025 in Brian Schottenheimer and a healthy quarterback in Dak Prescott, after Prescott's season-ending injury last season took a toll on their year. Prescott has consistently delivered solid numbers, but being out last season set him back a bit. Anytime a player in the NFL gets injured to the point where it ends their season, it's a setback. But Prescott has been training hard and is apparently ready to take the top position again with Dallas. But where does Prescott stand among the best quarterbacks in the NFL? When it comes to numbers, he has solid ones, which is one reason Jerry Jones paid him so much when renewing his contract. But maybe being out on injury has hurt his stance in the NFL, at least judging by the latest quarterback ranking. Now, ESPN has unleashed its roster of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Prescott is on the outskirts of the tally. For the piece, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN petitioned coaches, executives, and scouts to name their top quarterbacks in the league going into the 2025-26 season. Dallas Cowboys QB Dak Prescott only receives votes in tally. Prescott is a fantastic quarterback, which is why it's frustrating to see him not even make ESPN's tally of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league. Not only did he not make the top 10, but Prescott also didn't make the honorable mention category. He was listed under the also receiving votes section. The number one best quarterback in the league in Fowler's report was Kansas City Chiefs signal called Patrick Mahomes, which is no big surprise. He's followed by MVP-winning Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. Mahomes' grip on the top spot is loosening slightly, Fowler stated in the piece. After dominating the voting with back-to-back number one rankings in convincing fashion, Mahomes garnered around 60% of the first-place votes this year, which is still impressive but well short of last year, when he received all but one first-place vote. Meanwhile, other rivals made the tally, including Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders and Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. Dak Prescott gap is too wide on ESPN's tally. Prescott not make the list makes sense considering his injury, and hopefully he will prove everyone wrong this season. In a piece published on Tuesday, July 15th, in The Laundry Hat by Mike Luciano says that there's nothing necessarily wrong with putting Daniels and Hurts ahead of Prescott after those two faced off in the NFC Championship last season, but the gap between those two and Dak can't be as wide as it is. After all, Daniels could end up being a one-hit wonder. He adds that, unfortunately for Cowboys fans, both Washington and Philadelphia are in line to compete for championships this year, while Dallas is dealing with a very unpopular head coach and some issues around Prescott. Features like this ESPN one can only motivate Prescott to prove everyone wrong in the best possible way. Some time back, in the early years of fantasy football, someone decided that it wasn't fair for the offense to get all the glory. The IDP, individual defensive players, leagues were born. The punters were feeling a bit left out, and they got added too. Now that everyone finally got to join in, even the head coaches in some leagues, the size of league rosters and drafts expanded, as did the pre-draft homework for fantasy owners. As with the Cowboys offense, there are some automatic picks on the defensive side of the ball. MICAH Parsons should be among the first defenders to go in most draft formats. Depending on the league scoring, so should Osa Odigizwa. Marshawn Kneeland and Sam Williams will challenge Dante Fowler for the other edge spot on the defensive line. The backfield is going to be where a lot of questions will be found for fantasy owners to answer pre-draft. Who will rise? Right now, the top three linebackers are, assuming Parsons will be more on the line than off, Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, and Maris Lofau. DeMarvion Overshown may not return from his second knee injury until around Thanksgiving Day. For leagues drafting later, they will have the advantage of seeing some preseason action before making any decisions. In the defensive backfield, the safeties will probably be late-round picks at best. The cornerbacks are a little more chaotic right now. Darren Bland should be looked at early. Trayvon Diggs is expected to start in Week 1 against the Eagles. If he looks good in camp, he too should go high in fantasy drafts. Kyer Elam, Kalen Carson, and Siobhan Revel are late rounds, or in-season waiver wire acquisitions at best. The IDP sleeper candidate. Working our way back to the defensive line is where we will find the sleeper pick for fantasy owners on the Cowboys roster. Specifically, at the defensive tackle slot next to Odigizwa. Motsi Smith, the 2023 first-round pick, has not exactly invoked comparisons to Bob Lilly, Jethro Pugh, Randy White, or Russell Maryland with his play. He did have a better season in 2024 than he did in his rookie year in 2023. But that was a ridiculously low bar to clear. So don't be surprised to see Smith getting dropped back to a backup role if he fails to take the next step this fall. That would open the door for Jay Toya, the Cowboys' 7th-round pick back in April. Toya is already being looked at as pushing Smith, and the Cowboys don't even start training camp until next week. If you have a pick to spare near the end of your IDP draft, consider taking Toya. You'll thank me later. Micah Parsons has no questions he'll get his money when it's time. As Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys remain in talks with one another, the All-Pro edge rusher has continued to show up to the team's spring program. In fact, the contract talks have become such a part of life that Parsons has started to tune it out. Instead, his chase for greatness has been powered by his willingness to show up, a show of good faith to the team that drafted him. The fact the Cowboys and Parsons have yet to come to a contract agreement only motivates the star pass rusher. I just work harder. To me, I look at it like if people don't see your value, you don't cry and sit down. You just work harder. You got to show people your value. I just think that's the difference. I go, okay, bet, and I just work, Parsons said after his camp on Tuesday. Parsons, 26, does not feel like watching the edge rusher market is of interest to him. Despite Myles Garrett resetting the market, Parsons is almost guaranteed to get more than Garrett's $40 million per year. Pittsburgh Steelers star TJ Watt and Cincinnati Bengals star Trey Hendrickson are embroiled in contract disputes. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions seem primed to extend star Aiden Hutchinson. That doesn't affect Parsons that much, though, and he is not in a staring match waiting for one of those edge rushers to ink their deals. No, because they numbers got nothing to do with mine, and my numbers ain't got nothing to do with them, Parsons said about watching the edge rusher market. I'm younger than Hendrickson. Hutchinson's coming off an injury. Everyone's circumstances is completely different. Hutch is coming off his 3rd year. Usually guys wait 4 years. So, it just all depends what. He's up there with Myles Garrett. So, it's different. Everyone's circumstance is different. Garrett's contract may have reset the market, but Parsons said it never changed his Overton window. Parsons was always set to break the record for most money for a non-quarterback, with or without Garrett's money coming in at $40 million per year. Not really, because I'm just going to get mine no matter what, Parsons said about Garrett's contract affecting his market. You know what I mean? The markets change every year. Their salary cap went up, another 18% this year. So, if you want to know contracts, all the contracts are based off of percentage. Each player, a high-paid player, takes a percentage of the salary cap. So, it's not really the number. It goes off by the salary cap. Back in April at the NFL owners' meetings, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones said he didn't know who Parsons' agent, David Mulugheta, was. The agent is not a factor here, of something to worry about. And I don't know his name, Jones said. And so my point is, I'm not trying to demean him in any way, but this isn't about an agent. The agent doesn't have one thing to do with what we're doing when we get on the football field against a team. MICAH does. To the degree I'm involved, I do. The people that have something to do with what we do going forward relative to our fans and football are me and the player, not the agent. Parsons responded on X that he would not be doing a deal with the Cowboys unless Mulugheta was involved in the contract process. Jones said he and Parsons had a meeting of the minds on the contract negotiations, but he had yet to make a call to Mulugheta. David is the best, and I will not be doing any deal without David Mulugheta involved. Parsons wrote, "Like anyone with good sense, I hired experts for a reason. There is no one I trust more when it comes to negotiating contracts than David. There will be no backdoors in this contract negotiation." When asked if Mulugheta is now involved, Parsons says he is staying out of the negotiation process and letting Mulugheta handle it. "I just stay out of David's handle on it, And to be fair, Jerry's a businessman. Let him handle his business," Parsons said. Parsons and the Cowboys will continue to hammer out details. In the recent weeks, All has been quiet on the contract front, but it does not seem like Parsons and the Cowboys have any bad blood as they continue their negotiations. Parsons is a four-time Pro Bowler and had 12 sacks in 13 games last season. He has 12 or more sacks in each season of his career to this point.